Welcome to the Revolution of You podcast, hosted by Casey Dittmer, an award-winning creative entrepreneur, international speaker, wife, and mother who is passionate about igniting a revolution of evolution. On this podcast, she'll be throwing grenades with refreshing, unfiltered conversations that are raw and nothing short of life-changing. So buckle up, Buttercup, because nothing is off limits here. We'll be exploring life, business, shaking up old beliefs, and having the needed conversations that will empower you to grow into the best version of yourself. Are you ready?
Hey guys, welcome back. I have to say, if you have rejoined me after the Hot Mess Express, thank you so much. And now we're going to be best buddies forever because, we can only go up from there, right? But thank you, no, seriously, for sticking with me, sticking with yourself through the uncomfortable, and coming back for more. So I'm sure that you are wondering kind of where I am at this point. What happens after you take a trip on the Hot Mess Express? How long do you stay on the Hot Mess Express? And what do you do to get off the Hot Mess Express? And so I thought that we needed to address that. I think the appropriate follow-up episode to Hot Mess Express is the after effect. And so that's what we're doing today. We're just going to talk about what happened after I recorded that episode, where I was at, how I got out of that, and just kind of go from there. You know, I was stuck in that funky mindset for a while. It's not something, especially this particular trip on the Express. It's not like a quick thing. It's been building for a while, lots of factors, big changes, and it sets me into a tone of chaos. And that lack of control, or the feeling of the lack of control, is what really makes me feel like I'm a hot mess. And so, you know, I was doing little things. I was really trying to be realistic with my expectations for myself in those particular moments mentally. I can't do big projects. I can't undertake really big things all at once. I get overwhelmed really quickly. So I was trying to take little bites, make to-do lists. Man, I had to-do lists everywhere because remember what happens with to-do lists, they help to calm and quiet the voices. And so I was leaning into that, becoming very task-oriented, trying to almost be in a mechanical mode. Shut the emotion off, shut the fear off, shut even the excitement off. Just lean into the tasks. And so that was helping me a little bit. Part of this perfect storm was that I was gearing up for a trip to go to this convention that I've never been to. I had a friend who invited me, wanted to go for growth, for learning on my own end, for our merchandise line, for our speakers, for the Powerhouse Summit, just to observe other conferences. I think that that's really important. Also, a fun getaway with a friend. And so I was already building up anxiety for the trip because I had so many things going on. I wasn't feeling productive at home. And the other end of that is that this was the first time I was going to be attending a conference as just a conference attendee. I usually am always on the flyers, on the banners. I'm part of the lineup. And I am not afraid to admit, I'm comfortable to admit these days that that's very difficult for me, being just part of the crowd. It's a something in me that I don't like being one of just the many. I like to stand out. It's part of me. It's how I feel value. It's also where I gain my confidence and my strength from, because those social interactions are very uncomfortable. You put me in a crowd of 3,000 to speak, and I am so excited. I'm comfortable. I'm confident. I can do that. Put me on a stage, fine. You put me where I have to small group or one-on-one network, and it is the worst for me. I cannot function, and I'm getting a lot better at it. A lot of it was I just didn't know what else to talk about other than work, to build those connections, to let my guard down. And so as I'm becoming a better version of myself, I find that those moments are actually getting easier because I'm a better listener. I found that I was so busy and so focused with trying to make sure I was saying the right things or adding value to the conversation that I wasn't actually listening to what they were talking about. Just made for awkward exchange. Uh, and so I was not a fan. I would avoid those things at all costs. So here I'm going to this conference where it's really about networking. It's about meeting these other business owners. So you've got a convention of, 100, 150 women who are all entrepreneurs, doers, business owners, movers and shakers. And I was going to have to face-to-face network with them. I'm not feeling my strongest. In fact, I'm feeling very much in chaos. So my anxiety was just, it was a lot going into it. So I flew to Nashville for this conference. It's called the Ultimate Product Party. It was a great conference, super fun, great vibe. Everybody was blinged out in rhinestones and sequins, so naturally I felt right at home there. And great content of speakers. I mean, from the very get-go, they just kept seeming to really pierce my heart, and it's like they were in my mind. So many great pieces and nuggets that I started pulling from this conference, and that really started to help me pull out of this. It helped me change the mindset, and that is 100% what it took to get off the train and then take control and really become this massive force of productivity that I've been the last few weeks, is this shift in mindset. So let me back the bus up here. What I had discovered through this conference, and we're going to talk about that more here in a second, through therapy, I don't want to call it meditating, but just kind of sitting with myself and saying, what's going on here? I found that the biggest piece of chaos for me was that here I am. I have been a photographer for almost 25 years now. So more than half my life, I have been a part of the photography industry. I've worked in it. I've held jobs in it. I've spoke. I've been an innovator, an industry leader, all these things. It has been who I am for 25 years. And I very much had wrapped up my value, my worth, my identity into my career. And so it's like a very deep part of me. I am at the point in my life that I'm making some transitions and changes professionally, clearly. But I was feeling this pull apart because I was feeling a mixture of feelings: guilt for giving up, quote unquote, on my photography career, an element of shame. Like, what are people going to say or think? Oh, they're going to look at me and be like, yeah, she couldn't hang. She's given up. Or, yeah, I've told you she was done. She's washed up. I was creating these narratives that were not happening. No one was saying these things, at least to my face, but I was saying these things to myself. And also, the biggest one that we kind of discovered and uncovered was a sense of grief. This is who I've been and what I've done and what I've known and what I've fucking dominated at for 25 years. And no matter how I decide to transition, whether it's I'm hands in the air, done, peace out, or it's that I'm doing a little bit, or I'm just creating for me just because I love it and they're passion projects, I don't even know what that looks like today, but no matter what that does look like, there's an element of grief on the let go. Because no matter what it changes to, it's going to change, which means in some shape or form, a death to what it was. And what it was a lifeline for my family to survive, to eat, to afford our home, to grow. It was opportunity to be seen, to be heard, to be valued, which is a core thread for me. It was a place to connect. I felt confident when I spoke and when I talked to people about photography because I knew it. When I tried to help them with their business, when I mentored, things like that, I felt great being able to have impact that benefited other people by passing down my knowledge, my tricks, my trades, whatever it took to help them succeed. And it was also a survival mechanism when things weren't great, it was my safe place to dive into. And those things mean a lot still to me. And so I'm essentially leaving behind something that is comfortable, that is safe, that is a known factor to pursue these new and exciting things. And really, it's not even that I'm just like deciding, oh, hey, I'm going to change course and I'm going to go do something. I'm feeling like the universe is not just pushing, it's pulling me, it's kicking me. And I have my hands and my feet out. And I am like trying to like on the walls, like, no, I'm not going. And that's what's creating the chaos is I was viewing it that I was having to sever the tie to who I was, that 25-year creative entrepreneur, in order to succeed and move forward on the powerhouse and the podcast and all these other great things, the books, so on, so on, so on. And so I was struggling with that. I wasn't ready to let go. I wasn't ready to grieve. I wasn't ready to face those narratives that I was creating. And that's what was causing the chaos. And I think if you look back on the last episode, you're going to see that. You're going to hear it. It's not being said outright, but you're absolutely going to be like, I see that now. It was because what I wanted and what I knew I needed to do to move forward, I couldn't find a way to mesh that with my safe place, my known place, and a deep piece of who I was. So that mindset had to shift. That was what was broken. And so fast forward back to this conference, and I'm sitting in these classes, and they're starting to kind of whittle away at that mindset. It's starting to give me these little pieces and really form a space that's like a safe space for me to allow myself this transition. I was not allowing myself the ability to move forward, to take advantage of these amazing opportunities and passions that I'm feeling right now, because I was so clingy to the 25-year-old career. And so it was very quickly, almost overwhelmingly, starting to break that mindset. So the big point, or like turning point, like the aha, where I felt like this huge release, and it truly was. I mean, I'm gonna tell you about this class, but I was sitting in this class, and my friend, she was off networking, and I was sitting in this breakout session. And as the speaker's talking to me, it was Erin from Stationary HQ. She was giving this session on strengthening your story, and by doing that, you're going to also increase your bottom line. And so she was talking about not like the story that you tell your clients, but like your story, like who you are, why you're doing it, just what's your story? Strengthening that helps you strengthen your bottom line, your mission, all those things, because if you're not clear on your story, you can't move forward. And obviously that's where I was struggling at. So it's one of those like squirmy in your chairs where you're getting uncomfortable because you feel like they're really just talking directly at you. You're getting hot, your temperature's rising, but that's a good thing that it's resonating. It's resonating strong. Like the vibration is just going. And I remember sitting there listening to her, and I was taking notes because it was just like, it was like popping all these locks on all these things. And I was like, okay. And I felt myself starting to get excited about moving forward, and almost this clarity that comes over you when you don't have the push and the pull. And so she had us do this exercise. She had this card, and it had the words I am, and then a blank space, and then the word and another blank space. So essentially, I am, fill in the blank, and fill in the blank. And I looked at this card, and I have to admit, I'm the worst probably attendee to classes and sessions, because I'm 100% that person who sits in the back and is like, I'm not fucking doing that. I mean, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to soak it all in, but I'm not going to do your dumb activities. I'm not going to workshop it all together. I'm just kind of snot like that. But that's not how this was. Like I was all in. I was all in. And so I took this card and I started writing. And what I wrote, I'm going to try not to get emotional. I feel like I filled that cup last episode, but it was so big for me, was that I am a creative entrepreneur of 25 years. I built an amazingly profitable and sustainable portrait studio when everyone told you that it wasn't possible. Brick and mortar was done because digital was transitioning. People only wanted CDs and digitals. So to produce and to sustain a profitable brick and mortar studio, I was told so many times, it's never going to happen. And I did it. And I not only did it, but I dominated it. And I was able to take what I learned. And at that time, there was no Facebook, there was no conferences and online groups. I did it by myself through sweat, through mistakes, through tears, through trial and error, and being true to who I was. I swam upstream because I knew in my heart and in my gut that I was onto something and that I could do it. And I built this empire, and I took it, and then I became an innovator on an industry level. I mean, for fuck's sakes, in 2018, I entered the International Rise Awards and took first, second, and third place in the Maternity Awards, the International Maternity Photographer of the Year. Took all three. And I should be fucking proud of that. I should say that with a big old grin and be like, yep, I fucking did that. Instead of shying away or downplaying it or just kind of being like, yeah, that was a while ago. No, I fucking did that. And not only that one, I went in and I was a force in the industry. I caused change in the way that maternity portraits were photographed. I helped so many people strengthen their businesses, find their creative voices, and love their craft again. And I should feel great about that. Now, clearly I didn't write all those words on the paper, but essentially it was that I was a creative entrepreneur, had built this, I was an innovator, and I've done big things. And here's where it gets good. And that has all led me to this point. It has led me to where I can now take all those things and put it forward to so many more people. I can help businesses of all kinds find their voice, find sustainability. My highs and especially my lows, personally and professionally, allow me the ability to share my story and to help other people who are really struggling right now know that they are not alone. It's going to get better. And that there's a way out. That's powerful shit right there. But the mindset that I wasn't having to kill off this previous version of me in order to have this new and exciting version, that was gone. It dissolved in an instant because what it became was this person that I have been, that I've been building, growing, learning, evolving into, is the only thing that has made this new path possible. And I think that so many times we look at change as a negative thing or as a failure. I can't tell you how many times I had the conversation with my husband that I must have failed at some point, or they're going to think that I failed at some point if I stop doing photography. That's not true. After 25 years, I think I'm fucking entitled to doing something new. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I was just feeling, literally like this huge energy release of, oh my gosh, this is it. I have found a way to meld the two sides and be like, okay, it's not one or the other. This is a continuance of my path. I'm not just dead ending it and starting over. That's not it at all. I'm continuing. I'm taking all these things And realistically, it would be a shame for me to just continue to do the same thing. If I have been through all these things, done all these things, and I just continue down the same path of owning a portrait studio and that's it, same old, that would be the shame. And I'm not going to do that. And I found so much power in that. I'm telling you, my productivity the last couple weeks, I have been like, watch out. I went full into fuck it mode and I'm just getting shit done. I'm sending things out for the ask. I'm pitching myself. I'm like, it's crazy how much that clarity and release has allowed me to move forward. There's no hesitation. There's no shame. There's no guilt. There's no heaviness that's weighing me down or pulling me back. I'm just like, no, we're doing this. And it is going to be amazing. So I'm like living on this high at the conference, and it wraps up. This is where this gets really good. So you're going to want to pay attention. So I'm feeling really called to go up and speak to Erin and just tell her thank you. Tell her that this has been hugely impactful, because as a speaker, as a teacher, that's what we really love to know, is that we've had some kind of impact, that we're not just talking to the wall and we missed the mark and it didn't resonate. It means so much. And please, I encourage you, if you're at somewhere, at a workshop, at a conference, and you have these big aha moments, have these little nuggets, don't be afraid to go up and say thank you, because it truly means so much. So I'm up on the stage telling her thank you. The breakouts are switching between, so we like rotated with big groups. They had broke the whole conference into two, and they were getting ready to switch and rotate to the other room. So I was on the stage and I was talking to Erin. I had pink high-heeled shoes on, which I think that's where I went wrong. I don't wear pink, and these are like fuchsia pink. My staff and I are pretty sure we should just burn these shoes. Anyways, we're standing up there. I'm talking to her. I'm telling her thank you. And the host, the MC of the event, comes on the stage next to me because she's telling people it's time to move. So for like this brief moment, you've got like this chaos of both groups in the same room because they're transitioning, they're moving. And I'm like, I need to get out of the way because I'm holding things up. And so I like say thank you, and I turn and I go to step off the stage, and I miss a stare. So I went from like this euphoric clarity and excitement to the universe kicking me in the teeth, and I fall on my fucking face. We're not talking like, oh, I just kind of stumbled down. No, like ass in the air, face down, and I have all my rings on, my jewelry. So the sound is just like this, like on the floor. It's an old church is where they held this. So it just like echoes. And it was like a movie where the gasp was like this audible, like, and I'm laying on the floor and I'm thinking to myself, is there any viable way that I can just lay here and die and they'll just walk over me and we'll call it a day? Because I have never been so embarrassed. I mean, I landed like arm out, like down. I mean, it was a bad fall. So I know I got to get up. So I stand up, and the host says, she's up. And the only thing that I can think to do to like salvage any sort of dignity is to like throw my hands in the air, and everyone cheers. And I walk back to my chair. I'm shaking. I'm trying to pull my shit together because I'm just so mortified. It's like a deep fear unlocked. These are a group of peers, powerful, strong women. I'm already feeling less because I'm not a speaker or a contributor. I'm just an attendee, which I know that's a me issue. And then I fall on my face. It was horrible. So I'm sitting in my chair and I'm like trying to like gather my things so that I can get out of this room and to the next breakout. But really, I'm just like not even thinking. And this sweetheart, she comes over and sits next to me, and Shayna, she's from Dawn and Delight. She does branding and websites, and so you should really check her out because she's really truly an angel. She comes over to me and she asks me, "Are you okay? That was a really bad fall. Are you okay?" And I'm like, but you know how it is. You're fine until someone fucking talks to you. And then the second that you have to try and talk, it's like this blubbering emotional waterfall of like, I'm fine. I'm not fine. But you're not fine, right? You're just trying to keep your shit together. So I'm telling her, no, I'm fine. And she looks at me and she goes, "Are you sure? Because you ripped your pants." I don't even know this, but I look down and sure as shit, ripped my pants. My knee is bloody and bleeding. I found out later, because it was in my suit jacket, I'd hit so hard I had a metal bracelet on. It snapped the metal bracelet in half. But I'm like not even paying attention to the pain factor because my humiliation factor, my ego is hurt way more than any part of my body. And let me tell you, at 41, I'm too old to be taking falls like that. Like that's a straight path straight to the nursing home. Like I'm done, right? But she comes over, she's checking on me, and she starts asking me about my card and what it says. And I, through my blubbering crying, read my card, essentially my affirmation that I was this and now I'm this because of that. And looking back now, I feel like it makes that moment so much better because one's got a funny story now, not funny then, but funny now. But also that affirmation, it did make me feel better. That even when I'm like feeling like I'm at my lowest and truly humiliated and want to just curl in a corner and die, I could pull power and strength from who I was and who I am. Right? I think sometimes we latch and we cling to a specific point in our being, and then we refuse to see how awesome we are right now. We're pretty awesome. And we couldn't be who we are now without all those things leading up to it. And so she helped me gather my stuff. And, I had some choice mental words with the universe of like, that was really a dick move. I was feeling really good. You didn't have to like take me down that far. Thank you very much, universe. But overall, it was a really great moment of clarity. If you want to see the torn pants and the pictures of me crying in the bathroom, you better go check out my Instagram because they're there and you can see them. But the big takeaway is if you're having a hard time with any kind of transition, could be professional, could be life, personal, hair color, whatever it is that's causing you chaos, know that I have now decided to remember and hold on to that the greatest moments of chaos in my life lead me to the greatest points of growth in my life. And I'm okay with that. So I need to find ways to find more comfortable spots to sit in it, to not rush it, hope that the universe isn't going to kick me in the teeth each time I have an aha moment. I don't think so. That was a pretty good one. I feel like I paid my dues on that one. But that's what brought me the calm. That's what took me off the hot mess express, at least for the moment, and gave me back my power. And it clarified my path forward for big things. And that these new big things, I can go after them just as hard, if not harder, than what I've done for the last 25 years in my photography career. But the best part, it's just like when you're a second-time parent or a third-time parent, I've learned a lot of things along the way that hopefully make it a little bit easier, a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker. So that's a win. I'll gladly take a ride on the Hot Mess Express if this is where I'm headed, to great things. So thanks. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for putting up with me and my range of emotions and my hot mess. I know we're all hot messes, and we'll go back there. Don't you kid yourself. We will probably take many rides on the Hot Mess Express together, but I'm glad that we're doing it together. So make sure that you subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes. You can be the first one to join me. If you really want to watch the crazy antics, watch us on YouTube. We have a channel there. But most importantly, just join us because I really am thankful that you're along for the ride. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining the revolution. Don't miss any future episodes by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to become an agent of the revolution at revolutionofyou.net for exclusive content and to submit your questions and ideas for discussion. We would greatly appreciate you rating us and sharing with others who could benefit from joining the conversation. Thanks for tuning in. Talk soon.